In 1981, a family of Iranian immigrants made a decision that sounded completely insane to almost everyone around them. They wanted to build the world's biggest shopping mall in Edmonton, Alberta, a freezing Canadian city. At the time, Edmonton had a population of barely 600,000 people, and most critics believed the project would fail. People kept asking the same question: who would travel to the middle of Alberta just to visit a mall? But the Jamaisian brothers saw something other people didn't. They had escaped Iran during the chaos of the 1970s. They arrived in Canada carrying almost nothing except ambition and an enormous dream, not a normal shopping center. They wanted to create an entire world inside one building. Their idea was actually very simple. If downtown cities were losing their excitement, then the mall itself needed to become more exciting than downtown. So instead of building rows of stores and food courts, they built attractions people could barely believe were real. When West Edmonton Mall opened in 1981, Canadians were stunned. Even the first phase was massive, with over 220 stores. That alone made it the largest mall in Canada, but the family was only getting started. A few years later, they opened Fantasyland, a giant indoor amusement park with one of the world's largest indoor roller coasters. Imagine walking through a shopping mall while hearing people scream from a triple loop roller coaster flying above your head. And remember, this was Canada. Outside, temperatures could hit -30 degrees during winter. Inside, people were riding roller coasters. Then they added something even crazier: a tropical water park, right in the middle of Alberta. The World Water Park looked like something pulled out of Florida or the Caribbean. Families who had spent months buried under snow could suddenly spend the afternoon surfing indoors. Kids in Edmonton were literally learning how to surf while snowstorms happened outside. And somehow, the ideas kept getting more ridiculous. By 1986, the mall added deep-sea adventure. Visitors could ride a submarine beneath the water and look through windows at real sharks swimming around them. Sharks inside a mall in Edmonton. The entire project cost more than $1.2 billion at the time, which would equal nearly $3 billion today. It sounded impossible, but unbelievably it worked. West Edmonton Mall became a global phenomenon almost overnight. Tourists arrived from across North America. At its peak, the mall attracted over 30 million visitors every year, reportedly more than Disneyland. The parking lot held 20,000 cars and was constantly full. The mall employed around 23,000 people, more than the population of some Alberta towns. For many Canadians, West Edmonton Mall became more than a mall. It became proof that Canada could build something massive, ambitious, and world-famous. Edmonton suddenly felt important. The mall had its own identity. It had hotels, skating rinks, amusement rides, movie theaters, luxury shops, restaurants, and attractions so large that some people compared it to a small city. For a while, it genuinely felt unstoppable. But underneath all the success was one dangerous assumption. The owners believed the formula would work forever. Build bigger attractions, create unforgettable experiences, people will always come. And honestly, during the 1980s and 1990s, that belief looked completely true. Then the world changed, and West Edmonton Mall didn't change with it. The first serious crack appeared after the tragic Mindbender roller coaster accident. During a ride, one of the coaster cars derailed, killing 3 people. The accident shocked the entire country and permanently damaged the mall's image. Investigations later raised concerns about inspections and maintenance. Critics started questioning whether a place this enormous could be maintained properly. The same roller coaster that once represented ambition and excitement suddenly became a symbol of neglect. The mall survived the tragedy, but something had changed. The illusion of perfection was gone. Then came the internet. During the early 2000s, online shopping completely transformed consumer behavior. Companies like Amazon made malls feel less necessary every year. People no longer needed to drive across the city. They could sit on a couch and order everything from a phone. And little by little, malls everywhere started dying. At first, many people assumed West Edmonton Mall would survive because it offered experiences, not just shopping. But eventually, even experiences lost their power. Social life itself was changing. In the 1990s, malls were gathering places. Teenagers spent entire weekends there. Families treated mall trips like events. But by 2010, teenagers had smartphones. Families had Netflix. Entertainment moved online. Community moved online. Even friendships increasingly happened through screens instead of physical spaces. West Edmonton Mall wasn't competing against other malls anymore. It was competing against the internet, and it was losing. The decline happened slowly enough that many people barely noticed at first. In 2005, the mall was still thriving, but over the next decade, more businesses started disappearing. Entire wings became quieter. Foot traffic slowly dropped. The attractions that once felt futuristic started looking old. Galaxyland still operated, but many rides looked frozen in the 1980s. The submarine attraction eventually shut down. The famous Santa Maria ship stopped offering tours. The water park still attracted visitors, but compared to modern resorts, it no longer felt revolutionary. And maybe the saddest part was realizing that the mall itself had been designed for a world that no longer existed. West Edmonton Mall was built during a time when physical places mattered more. People gathered in person. Teenagers met at malls instead of social media apps. Families spent weekends outside the house. The mall represented a version of society built around real-world interaction, but technology changed human behavior faster than anyone expected. Shopping moved online, movies moved to streaming services, games became digital, and physical gathering spaces slowly lost their importance. The Gramasian family tried to adapt. They renovated parts of the mall. They introduced luxury brands. They hosted concerts and special events. But none of those changes solved the real problem. Luxury shoppers weren't flying to Edmonton for mall experiences. Middle-class families were becoming more careful with money, and maintaining over 8 million square feet of indoor space became brutally expensive. Heating the building alone costs a fortune. As more stores closed, rental income dropped. The economics stopped making sense. Then came the pandemic, and that was the moment everything got much worse. In 2020's, West Edmonton Mall shut down completely for months. When restrictions finally ended, many businesses never came back. Restaurants closed permanently. Retail stores went bankrupt. The once packed food courts suddenly felt empty. Large sections of the mall stayed dark and silent. By 2021, hundreds of storefronts sat vacant. And for long-time visitors, the atmosphere felt completely different. The excitement was gone. Walking through the mall today feels strange because pieces of the old magic still exist. You can still hear children screaming on rides inside Gallows Land. The water park still fills with families during winter. The skating rink is still there. The pirate ship still sits inside the giant indoor lake. But everything feels quieter now, older, almost frozen in time. Many of the unique stores that once gave the mall personality have disappeared, replaced by generic chain retailers you could find almost anywhere. And maybe that's why the decline of West Edmonton Mall feels emotional, because it isn't really just about a mall. It feels like the end of something bigger. For decades, the mall represented optimism. It represented the belief that huge public spaces could bring people together, that physical experiences mattered, that communities still gathered in person. Now, as the building slowly ages, it feels like a symbol of how much society itself has changed. The decline of public gathering spaces, the collapse of traditional middle-class culture, the replacement of real-world interaction with digital convenience. The Gramasian family still owns them all and continues announcing renovation plans worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Every few years, new promises appear. Modern attractions, luxury renovations, fresh experiences. But many people no longer believe those promises will change anything. Because the real issue isn't the building. The real issue is that modern society simply doesn't need malls the way previous generations once did. And West Edmonton Mall isn't alone. Shopping centers across North America are struggling with the same problem. But West Edmonton Mall's decline hits differently because it was supposed to be untouchable, too famous to fame, too unique to disappear. Yet history keeps proving the same lesson over and over again. Nothing lasts forever. Not industries, not cities, not even icons. The most likely future for West Edmonton Mall probably isn't a dramatic shutdown. It'll likely continue fading slowly, year after year, store by store, corridor by corridor. Some attractions may survive through nostalgia alone. Parents who visited the mall as children may still bring their own kids there, just to show them what malls used to feel like. But the dream of West Edmonton Mall as a world-class destination is probably already gone. Some people believe it died sometime in the early 2000s. Everything after that has simply been a slow attempt to delay the inevitable. And honestly, that's what makes the story so sad. West Edmonton Mall didn't fail.